Masai Ujiri, please take advantage of this. I'm making this video as a call out to you, to Bobby Webster, everyone that's a decision maker in the Toronto Raptors front office, because a Woj report dropped last night that revealed a major opportunity for this Raptors team to not only shore up a position of need, to amp up, fire up the fans, bring back a fan favorite at a very low cost, as you saw it in the thumbnail. And that's why I'm not calling it a Woj report, I'm calling it a Woj bomb, because none other than Bismack Biyombo is available on the market. As the Grizzlies are waiving Bismack Biyombo, he made a good impact with the franchise and could be brought back again, and Memphis is expected to add another big on a newly available two-way contract. So the Memphis Grizzlies are making a big mistake right here, and I already know it. I already know people before they watch the video are typing up, "Ben, get over this. You've been ranting about this for years. Why are you still on this train?" Well, you know what? If you weren't there, or you were blind, or you just have no soul, and you didn't witness, or you witnessed that Bismack Biyombo 2016 run, and you are saying you don't want this guy back in any shape or form around this Toronto Raptors franchise, obviously on a reasonable contract, then you know what? This video isn't for you. Dislike, do whatever you want, because frankly, I am a Bismack Biyombo stan. This guy provides exactly what the Toronto Raptors need right now, because if you haven't been familiar, Jakob Poeltl is out indefinitely with his ankle injury. Will be evaluated in 2 weeks. Hopefully will be back as soon as possible. Pascal Siakam's dealing with back spasms right now, and following the OG Anunoby trade, the Toronto Raptors are pretty depleted out there in the front court. Now, players have stepped up, certainly. Thaddeus Young has looked pretty solid in his 2 games down in LA, as the starting center, even though he's more naturally a 4, but he's a veteran that's able to do whatever's sort of asked of him. Jonte Porter is a guy that is looking like a pretty good steal for the Toronto Raptors on a two-way spot. A younger player, only 24 years old, that's dealt with some injuries, can space the floor, has a very strong basketball IQ, even though he can force some decisions, does look awkward at times, but his jump shooting, his passing, just a guy that's a very formidable player off the bench of the Toronto Raptors. But frankly, one thing of need the Toronto Raptors have, even with Jakob Poeltl in the lineup, is a lot more defensive rebounding and a lot more rim protection. Especially though G gone, because he's a guy that was able to guard other big men around the league. Heck, even Precious Achiuwa, for as much as you want to roast him, for as much as he missed certain rotations, was an athletic presence that could rebound and, block some shots at times, or at least be a rim protector with his athleticism. Those two guys are gone now. We replaced them with two amazing pieces in RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley, but obviously at the point guard and shooting guard position, they're not going to provide much in terms of rim protection, even though they are pretty good for rebounding guards. But in terms of being a guy that's going to be, keeping the DeMontis Sabonis of the world, the Zubac's, all these guys off the offensive boards, they're not doing what Bismack Biyombo could do for this Toronto Raptors team. And given the fact he's waived, you could probably bring him in on a minimum contract. And frankly, he's a guy that has been good over the course of his NBA career. Again, his bounce around the league is only 31 years old, so not super old by any means. 6'8", you might say, because again, there's probably a lot of people that don't recall back to 2016. So let me remind you who Bismack Biyombo is. Even though he's 6'8", he is a man's man. He is a center in the NBA. He blocks shots, and you might say, oh, he's old and washed, he's bounced around the league, but no. Bismack Biyombo's putting up very similar numbers to what he put up in his first stint with the Toronto Raptors. I mean, you look over the course of his career, even with the Grizzlies this season, 5 points per game, 6 rebounds, 1.7 assists, so he's not like he's still going to drop some bunnies. He doesn't have the greatest hands, but he's a nice sort of high IQ basketball player in terms of getting into the dunker and not just forcing stuff up. Like, the comparisons to Precious Achiuwa might be made, given the fact that some people were comparing him to Precious to Bismack when they came in initially to the Toronto Raptors, even though their games are very different. Bismack Biyombo knows how to play his role to a very high extent. As an undersized center, he's a great rim protector. He gets to that dunker. He has gotten better, especially over the course of his career, at just not fumbling a bunch of passes. Still doesn't have the greatest hands, but can dunk a lot around the rim. And I'm not going to call him a jump shooter by any means, but that sort of, 7-foot floater kind of midi shot, he's not horrible at that. So Bismack Biyombo, and again, you compare his stats to what he did this season for the Grizzlies, last year for the Suns, and the Suns really liked him. The Phoenix Suns fans, again, he's bounced around, but he provides a service that the Toronto Raptors need right now in terms of rim protection, in terms of rebounding. Not going to space the floor for you at all. It's not super tall, so it's tough to, he can catch lobs for sure, but is not a Lively from the Mavericks, or prime Tyson Chandler. It's the first name that's coming to my head in terms of a lob threat. But look at what his numbers he was putting up for the Toronto Raptors, where he turned so many heads, got that massive contract from the Orlando Magic. I mean, the numbers are extremely similar. His blocks have gone down to a certain extent, but again, he's able to show he can play that same amount of minutes with the Grizzlies this season. I mean, bring back the business. Just make it happen, Masai Ujiri. I mean, if you look at this picture, tell me you look at this picture. For all the people that are kind of hating on this take right now, look at this picture right now and tell me you don't want that energy, those vibes, that just everything that Bismack Biyombo provides to this Toronto Raptors group. Tell me you look at this picture, lived through this era of Toronto Raptors basketball, and don't want to see that happen. Look at it. Be honest with yourself. Even if you've already typed up your hate comment and then made it this far in this video, which you probably didn't. But tell me you see this photo and don't want to see Bismack Biyombo back on the Toronto Raptors. You're lying. You're lying if you said no. Just my take. But frankly, I've been a Bismack Biyombo stan from that 2016 era. I've promised people that I'm going to name my first child Bismack after what he did to LeBron James. So I'm a stan. I'm a homer. I get if people disagree with me on this, but you know what? I draw my line in the sand. I want Bismack Biyombo back until this man retires. And then even if he retires, I want him around the organization somehow. But obviously the Toronto Raptors are depleted at that center position, so it's fair to look over all the options. So what other options are out there if we do end up not going the direction of Bismack? I mean, I brought up Kai Jones as a potential player, and that's a guy that seemed to catch the most traction from what you guys agreed with in the comment section down below. But he's a guy, again, that's 22, fits the Scotty Barnes timeline, could potentially, if the Raptors sort of get his head right, because, again, there's a lot of weird Instagram live streams and posts on Twitter that led to his ended up getting cut by the Charlotte Hornets despite his potential, but is a player that hasn't put up crazy stats, but blocks a lot of shots when he gets some minutes, is a lob threat, is an athlete. So I get if some people sort of are more high on these types of acquisitions rather than a Bismack Biyombo, but I disagree. I want big business back in Toronto. I mean, you can look at other guys on this list that we've discussed before. I mean, Montrezl Harrell is probably the biggest name, but has dealt with an ACL injury. I mean, Skal Labissiere, bring back the business. Bring it back. The vibes have sort of been turned around as of late. Nothing. Absolutely nothing would hype up this Toronto Raptors fan base, this team, energize this team more, because frankly, the Toronto Raptors needed a shakeup in terms of rejuvenation, in terms of building up that locker room, just hype, and it seems to have happened. The Raptors have been winning games as of late. Their losses have come, one, at the hands of the Sacramento Kings on the road, where the Kings went absolutely ridiculous from the three-point line, so not blaming the Toronto Raptors there. The Lakers, we were screwed out of it from the referees. I'm standing by that. There's no Raptors win that game if the refs just weren't a disaster class in terms of a performance. And then we faced it off against the league's probably best team, the LA Clippers, last night, and fought very, very hard. The vibes are good, but bringing it to that next level would be bringing Bismack Biyombo in here. So I don't know. I want to see this happen more than really any move. I know some people are hyped on the Siakam trade train and want to see these transactions. Bring me Biz and I am happy. So Masai Ujiri, make it happen. This is my call for you to sort of make this go down. Again, let me know if you agree in the comment section below. Let me know. I am delusional. I agree on this, but I don't even care if he doesn't get that much run. I don't care about it. I just want Biz on this roster. Want him on the roster. Let me know what you guys think. I'm signing out. Cheers.